My name is Frank Yabua, MP for Achuma Mwabiaja North in the Ashanti region here, and member of the committee. Thank you.
Chairman, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Akwesi Kunedu, Member of Parliament for Menchia North constituency and a member of the committee.
Benjamin Techi Antiedu, clerk to the committee.
Good morning. My name is Samuel Atta Mills, MP for Commander Edina Iguafo Abrem. I'm the ranking member of Public Accounts Committee, but I'm presiding today. Thank you.
My name is Abna Osei-Asare, Member of Parliament for Itiwa East and the chairperson of the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament.
May we have the auditors introduce themselves?
My name is Dr. Alexander Kumson, Assistant Auditor General with the Audit Service team. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michael Addo, Assistant Auditor General, Audit Service.
Good morning. My name is Augustine Boating, Assistant Auditor General, Audit Service.
Yes.
Good morning. My name is Amon Nda Joseph, Senior Assistant Clerk at the Finance Cluster.
Okay, may we start with Joaboso? Is Joaboso here? Okay, please come forward. And the clerk will administer the oath, please.
Godfrey Bamba.
Do in the name of Almighty God swear.
Do in the name of the Almighty God swear. That the evidence I shall give before this committee. Touching the matter in issue. Shall be the truth. The whole truth. And nothing but the truth. So help me God.
Okay, could you please introduce yourself to the committee?
My name is Yusuf T.F. Kantum, the District Finance Officer, Joaboso.
Honorable Chair, my name is Alexander Eduquist, DC Joaboso.
Honorable, my name is Godfrey K. Bamba Banonoma, Coordinating Director.
My name is Idrisu Imoro, the Internal Auditor.
Okay. There's a common fund rep over here. Clerk, at the same time that we are swearing in the common fund clerk, let's swear in the representatives of Jasper, Zoomline people.
Cynthia Dadadru. Do in the name of the Almighty God swear that the evidence I shall give before this committee touching the matter in issue shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
All right, Joaboso, we'll start with you, and your first infraction is on District Assembly, accounts of District Assembly, and we'll start with Honorable Frank Yao Ahinkwa. It's on paragraph 591. Frederick, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chair. This infraction is on uncollected revenue. Your outfit failed to collect revenue to a tune of 126,000 Ghana cedis from these various institutions, and then from these institutions. I want to ask, what necessitated this, or what was the cause for your inability to collect these monies?
Thank you, Thank you, Madam Chair. The cause was as a result of some of them not being able to pay. However, we were able to put in strategies that indeed enable us to collect about 81,835.88. Those that were not able to collect, indeed, folded their businesses that are folded up. The first amount that we were able to collect, that was verified by the district auditor, was 24,960. Then the second recovery that we made was 56,875.88. And this represents 64% collection, as against the 126,000.
So which specific institutions have folded up?
In fact, some of them, most of them are these cocoa sheds, you know, and then some of them too are these minor, they are into minor businesses that we always issue a BOP to collect. We went into the fold and realized that most of them are folded up, and that accounted for the difference.
Which of them? Can you walk us through those companies? You should have the list. So let us know those companies you are talking about.
Madam Chair, I might not be able to mention all, but we have some of them are into minor businesses.
Honorable DC, we want specifics. You were cited per the report. It says 154 property owners, cocoa buying companies, and corporate organizations.
Yes, please.
So my colleague is asking, which businesses are you claiming they have folded up?
They are cocoa businesses, please.
So specific ones. That is what he asked you.
We're talking about the PBC.
Because the
PBC
property
companies.
rates were given to specific companies.
Yes, please.
Yes, so share with us those companies, corporate organizations, and properties that you think have folded up. And so,
Madam Chair, there are PBC companies, and then this minor company that has to do with some of them are into what's the name, hairdressing and all those things. Some
can you give us the specifics?
We want the
companies.
specifics. You say they are petty.
That's what we are asking.
Petty, they have names.
Yes.
So the petty.
How were they identified to that number, 154?
We had a data. We had a data, the revenue data, And that was how they were identified. But
Revenue data entails. What is there? They have names. These entities have names.
Yes, respectfully.
So
I might not be able to provide the names right now.
Then how did you generate the data that you have 154 institutions that are indebted to the assembly? If you don't have the names, then how did you come out with those institutions?
Madam Chair, as I speak, I don't have the list here. I only have the collection, what has been collected.
Honorable member.
So
his is 129.
We have it
in
in the
institutions. His is 129. The 154 is for the two. But sir.
Yes, please.
Yes, 129 institutions. And
yes,
we are saying that these 129 institutions, they are more or less like human beings. You can count them. So which of them paid, which of them did not pay? This is what we want, whether they have folded up or not. We want to know.
Okay.
And you were coming to face the Public Accounts Committee.
Yes, please.
And you should know these are the very things we ask from you.
About 70 institutions has paid. 70 out of the list.
So which are the 70 and which are the ones that we want you to mention the names? These institutions have names.
Madam Chair, I might not be able to mention the names, sir. But
why?
The list, because I don't have the list here.
Hello.
Yes, please.
No. I can make it easier for you.
Okay.
You pay the amount of money, and then you go and look for those people.
Yes, please.
So you pay the 126,000, and you pay from your own pocket, and then you go and find out those people who owe the assembly.
Madam Chair,
I'm a man, sir. I'm the one chairing, please.
Honorable, I'm saying that we have been able to collect 64%.
It doesn't matter. Who are those who haven't paid?
I have the list, not here, sir. I'll be able to provide that to the auditor for verification.
Then go and come back tomorrow when you are prepared to answer our questions. Okay? You knew you were coming here. You knew that you owed 126,000.
Yes, please.
Some have paid. Some haven't paid.
Yes, please.
Then you come and sit here.
No, I have the list. I will.
Where is the list?
I'll make it available, sir.
And so you go and then you come because other people are waiting.
It's here, sir. I'll make it available.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Sir, let me remind you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
Let me remind you that you've taken an oath.
Yes, please.
Let me remind you that some of us have been doing this for over 10 years.
Yes, please.
We are very experienced questioning people.
Yes, please.
And you are not the only district for us to question. Now, just to let you know, you are live on Facebook. The whole country is watching you. You are live on parliamentary TV. You are live on so many other social media stuff. You are the coordinating director, right?
No, I'm the finance officer.
Finance officer.
Yes, please.
And now you are telling the whole world that you don't know what you are doing. People owe you 126,000. Some have paid, some haven't paid. Who are those who haven't paid? Are you trying to cover up for somebody?
No, sir.
Now you have the list, right?
I will have to visit the...
Mr. Chair.
Yes, please.
When I asked him of the data, he said that he can retrieve it from his car. So I will plead that the
He can retrieve it from his car.
Yeah, the documents
okay,
are
then
there.
all
So
of you stand aside. Let's call the next one. When you are ready, we'll come back and then get you.
So, Mr. Chair, my plea is that since we have a lot of issues, if we can address it and we provide that one, that's a plea. Since our issues are many, if you can respond to the others and we make provision for the list. With all due respect.
We are not playing here. We'll come back to this. You give us the list.
We are grateful, sir.
Your next infraction is on paragraph 643. Your next infraction is paragraph 595 again. And Honorable Akwesi Kunedo will handle that one.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Chairman, this infraction has to do with insufficient revenue collection. And first, Director, I think you are in charge of the payment of remuneration for these revenue collectors. Are you in charge of the payment of remuneration for the collectors of revenue in your district?
Honorable, I'm the finance officer.
You are the finance officer?
Yes,
okay,
please.
Good. So what is the basis upon which you pay revenue collectors in your district? Because here, I asked this question on this background, that you paid in excess of 124,000 as against the amount of revenue that they collected. So even the amount that they collected was not sufficient for the revenue collectors' remuneration. So what is the basis upon which you pay them? Are they paid on commission basis or they are mechanized revenue collectors?
Honorable, they are mechanized revenue collectors.
Therefore, you have in excess of that the number that you need, because you know why. They are mechanized and you pay them a standard rate at the end of the month. And the collection that they do, for instance, let's take Mercy Kra. You paid her 38,000 while she was only able to collect 7,000. The next person, you paid that person 39,000, the person collected 10,000. That is Nkrumah Millicent. And then Stephen Ansah, you paid him 41,000, he collected 9,000. You have Ajiman, Rosemary, 38,000, and she collected 6,007. On what basis can you justify? Is it that you have more revenue collectors than the revenue collection areas or points that you do have?
Honorable, in fact, we identified some loopholes within the systems. And targets per the recommendation of the audit service, we set targets. Management made and set targets for the revenue collectors. And what even accounted for most of the issues has to do with some of them has overstayed at other places. So swiftly, we have to rotate them. And indeed, when we did the rotation in 2025, we saw an increase in revenue, a tremendous improvement. So there have now been targets have been set for them, and then we promise them that if you are not able to meet your targets, in fact, the right sanctions shall be taken against you. So,
first and foremost, I ask a simple question. Is it that you have in excess of the revenue collectors as against the revenue point? That you did not answer. But in any way, you said you identified loopholes. Yes, what were the loopholes, in addition to the first question that I asked?
We realized that some of the revenue collectors have overstayed at certain places. And as a result, there's that kind of familiarity threat. So as management, swiftly, we decided to rotate them. And indeed, when we did that, we saw that there was improvement in the revenue generation. We also realized that there were some of the places that, looking at their number, they were not able to reach. So, per the wisdom of the DC, we were able to employ some of the commission collectors in this 2026. And indeed, there's improvement, a tremendous improvement, of course, considering the performance that I have in hand currently.
Obviously, that cannot be a fact. First and foremost, this is my question. You actually do not answer the first one, no problem. But the second one, you do not even answer the loophole matter that you yourself raised. Because the point is this: if you are telling me there were loopholes and people have overstayed where they used to be, is it that there was connivance with the collectors and those individuals that who ought to pay, or is it that the revenue collectors were siphoning money when you had those loopholes and you identify it?
Honorable, because of the overstayed, there's that familiarity threat. That has to do with...
So they were not collecting?
Yes, please. Because I'm free with you, and then that familiarity, when I come, you talk and then I'll go. So that is what is happening. That is what we identified.
When did you identify that? Because you see, so all the meantime, you were not setting targets for them.
In fact, we have been setting targets, but revenue generation is a process.
Please.
Yes, please.
Once you set targets, you have timelines to the target, either quarterly, monthly, or half yearly. So when you do not meet your first target that you set in the year, Because you obviously cannot tell me it's a process, so you'd wait up until the last day, say the 31st of December, before you go and do a review of what they did. So whilst they were collecting, they were bringing, and they were not meeting the target, what did you do? Up until this is a final report that was given by the auditors. It is not somewhere within intermediate report. This is the final report for a year. So within the year that you set the target, when they were not meeting, what did you do? When you realized that they were familiar with the people? Because now you said you've employed more people in addition to them. We are only compounding the problem.
Yes, Honorable, the fact is that those two revenue collectors, during the period that the infraction occurred, one was a lactating mother, and then the other one too was quite ill. So that accounted for their performance. However, as management, we want to see ways that we can put in place to increase our revenue. So some of the areas that were untapped, we realized that we needed to employ more revenue collectors. And I said that we have a tax force collection, and if you look at our performance, we are not doing bad, Honorable. Those two revenue collectors, indeed, it was because of their...
Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
I assume office on the 9th of April.
Yes, sir.
When I assumed office, I called for the books. So when I looked through, I realized that what has brought us before this committee.
Is that the DC?
Yes.
Okay.
What has brought us before this committee, we needed to do something about it so that in our next coming, I hope that we will not even come at all. When I saw the books, I realized that we needed to do something. And quickly, management met. I asked a lot of questions. A lot of answers were given. Then it called for a new strategy to be adopted. Upon the question that the honorable member asked, I saw that after the briefing, the seriousness was very low. And in addition to what my FO said was true, there were some of the people, one of them, a lady, he had given birth and the collection was not all that okay. So what do we need to do then? Quickly, we exchanged them in terms of their positions, and target was also given to them. That is in 2025. In order that if they are not able to meet it, then if we have to write, since they are paying from Accra, when I say Accra, they are paying from Controller and Accountant General, and we don't have control as a district as to when to pay them and when not to pay them. But I can report, though that report is not before you, that intervention has yielded a lot of results. Those names mentioned, that target that was given to them, they have all exceeded those targets as at 2025. So, Mr. Chair, it's true, I would term it as they were not serious at that time. And in addition to that, property rate and other areas that we needed to collect, they were not tapped. So how do we tap those places? Mr. Chair, as the honorable member said, we are not compounding the problem, but rather whatever measure we have put in place in employing more collectors. I have a certain belief that I don't believe in permanent collectors. Because if the person is paid from Accra, whether he collects or not, since you don't have control over the payment of the person's salary, at the end of the month, the salary will come. But if you employ commission collectors, you have control over them. And moreover, the amount you collect determines the percentage being paid to you. And we managed to recruit about 12 of them, Mr. Chairman. As a result of that.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. This you can reserve for your officers at the district. You are a political appointee. Those of you who are political appointees, listen to these experienced technocrats who are giving us cookie-cut answers. Did you realize these people were not performing before or after the auditors came? Finance officer.
Mr. Chair, we have checks that we have been doing. We have monthly checks,
sir,
and weekly checks.
I just asked you a question.
Yes, please.
This is a free SHS question.
Yes, sir.
Did you realize it before or after the auditors came?
I realized it before they came.
And what did you do before that? When did you realize that? What year? What month?
I realized it when that was 2025, around July.
Look, this is a 2024 report.
Sorry, 2024, around July, because I was moved into the district somewhere April. So in July, I called for the books to see where we are not doing well. As a new person in the place, that is what I'm supposed to do. So I realized that some of them are not doing well. There are even instances where I go into the market myself to observe and see what strategies I can put in place, at least to help the system. So I realized that the two officers I mentioned, one was almost due to give birth, and the other woman too was sick. So what we did was that there's one of the revenue collectors that I made her to be assistant at the market. However, that wasn't enough until the auditors came. No.
Okay, now the DC tells us that they are collecting more than they are paying. Isn't that so? Because another report will come.
Yes, sir. I'm very confident.
And we'll come back.
And Mr. Chair, I know we will not appear.
Mr. DFO or MFO, you see, it is not always proper to come and sit here and use pregnancy as an excuse. It doesn't sit well with a lot of us here. She's an employee. She's working. The fact that she's pregnant doesn't mean she's not supposed to do what is expected of her. So please, let's not use that as an excuse. It's not right. It's not proper. Unless the person doesn't come to the office at all and then you explain, but oh, she was about to give birth. What has that got to do with collection of revenue? So please.
Madam Chair, thank you
I'm
so
happy
much.
the DC says they have found ways to improve upon the revenue collection. But let's not use pregnancy issues about women and nursing mother this to explain your infractions. Because I don't think, this is how we want to be represented. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Let's move to the next infraction. Is on paragraph 643. And this is on abandoned vehicles. Hey, Joaboso. You have 6 vehicles that have been abandoned. What has happened to these vehicles now?
Honorable, a board of survey has been formed to indeed look at the serviceable and unserviceable vehicles. We were able to work on 2 vehicles. And then the rest we have written, per the recommendation of the board of survey, we have written to the chief of staff, waiting for a direction for them to be auctioned.
Have you checked the rules on how to auction these vehicles? You know that there was a Supreme Court ruling that you don't have to write to the chief of staff anymore. Or you are not familiar with that?
I'm not familiar with that, sir.
Oh, sir. You need to, if you are doing the job,
okay,
keep yourself updated.
Okay.
on how these things need to be done. So 2024 report, which vehicles have you fixed?
We have fixed Nissan 4x4, the two Nissan pickups.
You fixed the 2 Nissan pickups?
Yes, please. The rest.
Okay. What about the Ford Everest?
No.
What about the farm truck?
No, sir.
Then the grader?
No, Honorable. Yeah, and serviceable.
So when you wrote to the chief, when did you write to the chief of staff?
That was on the 8th of January 2025.
April 2025.
Yes, please. January, 8th January 2025.
8th January.
Yes, please.
2025.
Yes, please.
And what month are we in right now?
We are in April 2026.
Have you had any response from the chief of staff?
No, sir.
Did you show this letter to the auditors when they came?
Yes, please.
Auditors, respectfully, did you see the letter dated 8th of January 2025 requesting from the chief of staff permission to dispose these vehicles?
Honorable Chair, we have not cited that letter. And indeed, regarding the status of the issue, we only know of GV 1876W. Is that the Nissan Navara? Yeah. That is the only one we know has been given to a new mechanic to work on. With the status regarding the other cars, we can't say anything about. We don't have any status to that effect.
Chair, let me come in. MFO, you said you wrote this letter 2025. Is that not so?
Yes, please.
This report is talking about 2024 report. So there is no way you show that letter to auditors.
The audit was done in the first quarter of 2025, so that's why I asked. The audit for 2024 is usually done in the first quarter of 2025, so that if you wrote the letter in January and the auditors came around that time, why did you not show? Can you let the auditors see a copy of that letter and the dates on that letter? Because if this was the letter you had on you when the auditors came, I don't think the auditors would have cited you for this infraction in the reports. Okay. Can we see the letter?
Yes, please.
Can you pass it on to the auditors?
And then MFO, what is wrong with the grader? What was wrong with the grader?
It's completely down. It's cannibalized.
When you say it's completely down, what is it? I want to know.
In fact, I don't know the better way to use, but it's just down completely. The engine has been removed. The engine is dismantled. The ties, no ties. It can't just move.
Engine removed by who? You said the engine has been removed by who?
Madam Chair, that is the state I met when I came to the district. I don't know much.
There were other people before you, and if it had been your own property, would you have said, I don't know much? When I came, the engine was off, so that is okay. It's completely down.
No.
We have to write to chief of staff to write it off or to allow us to sell it.
Madam Chair,
yes.
In fact, what I was told, I asked, but because I am not the coordinator, I cannot speak much to that. They said
so, is the coordinating director here?
Yes, please. They said
can the coordinating director speak to it respectfully? Because the MFO says because he's not the coordinating director, he cannot speak to it. So respectfully, if he can speak to it, MFO, please turn off your mic. So,
Honorable Chair, I think I'm actually the newest amongst them. In fact, I went there this year, so it's really difficult to really give very detailed.
But sir, it's also unfair to the people of Ghana. because there's continuity in government. If you come and sit here and say, I'm the newest person, but you knew you had been cited for these infractions, where you could go back and find out the status and what's really transpired for, even for the auditors to even cite you for these infractions. It didn't bother you. You were coming here. What were you coming to tell us? That the only thing is that you are the newest coordinating director here, so we should take it like that and allow it to stand as it is?
No, please. Honorable Chair, I actually found out, but that particular grader had been parked for, I'm told, for over 15 years, with nothing else he has indicated on it. So most of the officers could not really, give adequate information as to how
the auditors,
we go to that stage.
Can you verify what the coordinating director just said, that the grader had been parked for over 15 years?
Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Chair, would you leave the district auditor is here? I would like him to speak on the matter.
On this issue regarding the vehicles, in actual fact, we have no idea about it being left over there for the past 15 years. This is the first time actually we are hearing that.
You see, this grader was registered in 2009.
16 years.
2009. And this machine you claim has been broken down for 15 years. So from 2009 to 2024, how many years are we talking about? 16. So the very first year that they used it, it broke down. Finance officer, before you speak, I'm concerned. And let me tell you my concerns. You told us that the vehicles, the two hard bodies, they've been fixed. The auditors don't have record of it being fixed and being used. I asked you about the Ford Everest. You said it's one of those vehicles that have been broken down, and the tender whatever committee is, you've written a letter to the chief of staff. But the auditors have a record that you have sent it to a new mechanic, which is being fixed. So that letter that you've written to the chief of staff, have you amended it to exclude this one? Do you have a copy of the letter that you wrote to the chief of staff?
Yes, please.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, sir.
With regards to the vehicles, as I indicated, I assume office April 9th. When I saw it in the books, we had a meeting to look one after the other, which one is serviceable and which one is not serviceable. So, as we speak, one pickup service being used, what I came to meet.
Which pickup is that?
In fact, it's a Nissan hard body.
Yeah, you have two of them.
Okay.
One with the registration number GV83-S. Another one is GN8101-12.
In fact, I don't have the numbers offhand, but one has been serviced and being used.
Okay.
It's even being used by our physical planning unit and the engineers.
Okay. Your finance person said two.
Yes. And there's another one, the 4x4 Nissan. That one too has been worked on. We brought it to Kumasi, has been worked on and is being used as we speak. So since I came to the office, there are two vehicles that we have spent on. The other ones in question, when we brought the mechanics, the report they gave to me, as in the management, we realized that putting in money to service those cars, when the auditor even comes and we even tell him this is how much we have spent on it, I think we will still come back here. So when I was briefed that a letter has been written, we were waiting for a response as to the action to take, since we are not of our own. So in respect of the vehicles, yes, two has been worked on. The other ones, very difficult to service.
But the auditors just confirmed that the Ford is currently at the mechanic, meaning that you are servicing it, or that is the parking place of the Ford vehicle?
That one is not being serviced.
It's not being serviced.
It's part of those ones that are just.
But they are parked at the mechanic.
In fact, yes.
Why?
Because it's not movable. Very difficult.
So when the auditors came and they came to check on your vehicles, was it parked at the mechanic?
In fact, yes. Because as far as I'm concerned, that car is not parked at the assembly.
The auditors, can you please confirm whether you met all the vehicles, especially for this particular one, parked at the mechanic?
Yes, please.
So my question is, so those cars that you are in a process wanted to, so are people going to buy? They're not going to fix it. Are they going to do, when you are auctioning, people who buy the car, are they not going to fix it?
Mr. Chair, since we are managing public funds and it's not our personal money, I think that yes, somebody can buy and decide to fix it in his own way. But in utilizing government money, we need to follow the protocols. At least if a response comes and another assessment is being made and a recommendation comes that no, these two, you can work on it regardless of the amount you spend on. We are always guided that the auditors will come. So we need to do what is right. So not that it can be fixed at all, but we want to follow the protocols, Mr. Chair.
Auditors, you want to make a comment about the letter?
Yes, Honorable Chair. So
yes,
the letter handed over to us is dated on the 8th of January 2025 to the Chief of Staff. Now, a bit of concern is that the nomination to serve on the Board of Survey and then the minutes of the Board of Survey indicates 22nd January. So, under normal circumstance, you should have been done with the work of the Board of Survey before writing to the Chief of Staff. So that is our concern. We will have to really check this letter again.
Joaboso, you guys this morning took an oath to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Didn't you do that?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair.
Now, the Board of Survey was on the 22nd. But you wrote the letter on the 8th.
Honorable.
Yes, sir.
During the audit process, we have what we call the observation. They always come out with the observations.
Yes.
So it was this period that we quickly have to respond to the audit issues.
Listen to yourself.
Yes.
Listen to yourself. You wrote a letter to the Chief of Staff on the 8th. The Board of Survey hadn't been set up yet. You set up this Board of Survey on the 22nd. Master.
Let us see the letter.
Madam Chair, I believe there's an error in the dating. That is what because what I want I'm saying that.
So you see, when I asked you, did you show this letter to the auditors when they came? Because clearly, if they had seen, you had shown this letter to them, they would have pointed things out to you.
Okay,
Maybe there was never, the letter wasn't there, you just cooked it up. That is why you are saying that now you are admitting that there's an error in the date. Because clearly, if you had this letter, and the auditors have cited you for this, and you go through the exit interview with them, and you refuse to show them this letter, even though you have been cited for this infraction, you refuse to show them this letter, and then one year, 3 months, you come and tell the whole world that you wrote a letter to the Chief of Staff asking for permission to dispose of these vehicles, and the Chief of Staff hasn't responded. Do you think it's proper, sir?
Madam Chair, we have taken note of that.
It is not a matter of you have taken note of that. You come here and you tell the whole world you wrote a letter in January, and to date, you haven't heard anything from the chief of staff. I asked you to show the letter to the auditors for confirmation.
Yeah.
And the auditors are saying, this cannot be.
Okay.
MFO, you took an oath this morning.
Madam, that is what the letter indicates. So I believe I am not the originator of the letter. The administrators.
Honorable DC, did you take a look at the letter before coming here?
In fact, I
Please,
have
can you turn off?
Yes, but as in the board of survey term, I wouldn't say that I'm not part, but I didn't know the timelines as to when it should be set up before what. So that technical question I couldn't ask, but I cited
Then,
the
Honorable
letter.
DC, your technical people have failed you. Clearly. Because you are the political appointee and the technical people are supposed to advise you on the processes. Auditors, can you please take us through the process so that for the benefit of those who are here and don't know how to go through a process to dispose of a vehicle?
Yes, Honorable Chair. So after their own inspection, they may have to trigger the formation of the Board of Survey. Now they will come out with their report, and based on that report, they would stand on that to go ahead and dispose. Hitherto, they would have sought for permission from the Chief of Staff, but it is no more a process that they have to follow. They can go ahead and dispose the vehicle. It's a very simple process. Thank you.
So, DFO, how long have you been in the system? How long have you been, MFO, sorry, a staff of Controller and Accountant General?
A staff of Controller and Accountant General. I've been 18 years.
18 years?
Yes, please.
And you don't know the process to follow when you are disposing of a vehicle? Such that, yes, please.
Madam Chair, the process that I know is that a board of survey has to be formed, and when it is formed, they will look at the serviceable and unserviceable vehicles and recommend as to what to do. So based on the recommendation, then you will write to the Chief of Staff for an action to be taken. This is the process that I know. However,
so that when new ways, reforms are brought into our public financial management system, because you know of the old one, you are not willing and ready to adapt to the new changes that will make things more efficient for all of us.
Madam Chair, I'm willing. I'm ever willing to. However, in fact, this particular one, I think it's escaped me, because I
Honorable
never
DC,
knew there were amendments.
you have a lot on your plate. You need to watch your back, because your technical people have let you down. And you have also let yourself down, because you should have gone the extra mile of really reading into that letter that was given to you before, appearing before Public Accounts Committee and tendering it in as evidence that you have written to the Chief of Staff. So you have done your part, and you are waiting for the Chief of Staff, who for 1 year and 4 months has refused to respond to your letter.
Mr. Chair, we are new on the chair, so I take this as a learning process. So I will take note of that.
How long have you been the DC?
I assumed office on the 9th of April last year.
Oh, my brother. Over a year. And you are behaving as if you were just given the position yesterday.
No, madam. Since the administration entails a lot, and I will not say that I have not learned anything, I've learned a lot. But I'm not fully up to where I needed to get to.
This one was just lack of proper scrutiny. It has nothing to do with the learning process. Lack of proper scrutiny, because if you had scrutinized that letter, that's why I asked that, can you hand it over to the auditors for the auditors to verify? Because there's no way a letter will go to the Chief of Staff for 1 year, 3 months, and there will be no response. I know, and things don't work that way. That's why I asked that you give it to the auditors to confirm. So it was lack of proper scrutiny, and I hope that moving forward, you get the opportunity to scrutinize things very well for your own education and also for the education of the position in which you find yourself in.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Chair,
I'm guided.
Chair, I just want to bring this to the floor because the tendency of various district assemblies having graders and then abandoning the graders and then they don't take good care of it, it's costing this country a lot. And we have seen it in so many assemblies. They abandon the graders. What is the issue? Or the assembly are not capable of handling graders in future so that we take certain decisions in the future. It's so bad.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In connection with the process, I just want to add a bit. Previously, you needed to, if it has to do with vehicles, you needed to write to the Chief of Staff. Then when the PFM Act 2016 came to being, then the authority shifted to the Ministry for Finance, the Minister for Finance. So if you want to dispose of a vehicle, you need approval from the Minister for Finance before you can do that. Then the Public Procurement Act prescribed the process for dealing with disposal of vehicles. And for that matter, when you are satisfied with the Board of Survey report, what you do is to write and get an auctioneer. You advertise to get an auctioneer. Then the auctioneer will go through the process to dispose of the vehicles. So you can't sit down in the comfort of your office and decide that because there's a recommendation in the Board of Survey report that we should dispose of vehicles, you just go ahead and allocate vehicles to people and take money. You need an auctioneer to carry out that assignment. So, Mr. Chairman, this is what I wanted to add. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Just to remind the auditees, this committee has the powers of a high court. And when you come to lie to us, that is perjury. Think about it for a minute. Let's go to this is Assembly Common Fund, and Joaboso, your infraction is on paragraph 721, and Dr. Jassau will handle that one.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Come with me to paragraph 721. The infraction is on abandoned and delayed projects. There are a number of districts in your region that have this infraction. Joaboso district, you have a number of projects. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, about 6 of them. And there have been several months of delay on each of them. One of them 24 months, one as high as 264 months. And as you know, these delays lead to cost overruns that may offload money that would have otherwise been used for other equally important development work going into these cost overruns. Can you tell us why the delay and why you have not attended to these projects?
Mr. Chairman, it's true on the report that we have delayed and abandoned project 6, but I met more than 6. More than that. Thankfully, when the Common Fund issued the guidelines of how we should spend the money, there was a component for completion of legacy projects. So all these ones forms under the legacy project. We had our first release of the Common Fund around July last year. So we began the process of looking at those abandoned projects. So as we speak, in 2025, we were able to complete 3 of them. They are all 6-unit classrooms with ancillary facilities. One is at a Teso, another one Dominable, and another one Benchama. In the coming weeks, since we wait for the release of the money, because we want to follow due process, in order not to rush in awarding.
DC, the report doesn't tell us the name of the communities. Could you tell us the specific projects that have been completed?
It's 6-unit classroom blocks. That's why I said there were more than the 6-unit classroom block at a Teso.
So you see, we are dealing with the 2024 audit report. And in that report, it cites 6 specific ones. So I'm interested in whether these 6 specific ones have been tackled or not. And if you have, which specific ones have you tackled?
In fact, they are all listed under our legacy projects. So we started with the amount
Honorable DC, please, you have a copy of the reports?
Yes.
So when you look at the report, it says renovation of one number 6-unit classroom block, contractor, Kiafi Ventures. There's another one, contractor, Muslivin, Muslivin. So that's what he's saying. We don't have it according to the names of the towns. So that if you can speak to it as has been prescribed in the Auditor General's reports, then we'll know which ones have been completed. That's what he means by what he said.
Okay. In fact, the ones that are completed, I don't find them in the list. No, that's why I began by saying we have a lot of abandoned projects.
Sir, auditors.
But, okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Auditors,
Honorable
could
DC.
you help us out?
Mr. Chair, just one second. Honorable DC, do you know these 6 listed projects? Do you know them? So can you tell us what's the status of these 6 projects now, as of today?
In fact, Yajem is part of the one year to be advertised. Yajem is here.
Madam Chair.
Please, the clerk, can someone come and pick my report and show to the DC and the MC
Madam
and
Chair.
team? Because what
Madam
they
Chair.
have in front of them is different from the report the Auditor General generated for this. So maybe just hold on. Let me bring you my reports, and then we can be on the same page.
Let me mention it.
Let him bring it so that.
I'll handle that.
And you realize that these projects are actually almost completed.
Yes.
80, the lowest is 56%. The rest are over 80% completed. So it's surprising that we don't appear to know about them.
Madam Chair, completion of one number 6-unit classroom block and auxiliary facility. That one has been completed.
No, we have a number of that. Which of them?
I'm mentioning them individually. There are 3 projects that has been completed, but I want to mention them individually so that you can cross-check from your side.
No, mentioned by the names of the contractors as has been listed in the report, we can clear.
We have Glow Vision.
Glow Vision, okay.
Glow Vision. That project has been completed and is in use under the legacy projects. We also have Sparks M Ghana Limited. That one too has been completed and commissioned. Then we have JO Construction. This one has been captured under the 2026 budget, yet to be awarded. Then we have MS Glow Vision Investment Limited. This one has also been captured under the 2026.
Sorry, MS what?
MS Glow Vision Investment.
Okay, okay.
Limited.
So we have Glow Vision. Yeah, we have Glow Vision Investment. Is that the same? Glow Vision Investment Limited.
There are two. Yes, please.
Yes, that's right. Okay. Glow Vision Investment. That's right.
We also have Kiafi Ventures.
Yeah. Okay.
Kiafi Ventures. That one too is that one is yet to be awarded under the legacy.
So two have been completed. Right? So is it correct that 2 out of this have been completed and 2 are yet to be awarded?
Yes, please. 2 has been completed here.
Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
So the rest are to be captured under the 2026 budget.
Okay.
Madam Chair, what I added was not captured here. So it's not like we lied under oath. That one was not captured here. So it's technically 3. But that one was not captured as part of the report.
So it's actually 2 that you have completed from the
yes,
report.
yes, but there are another one that
so
was
that
also
is
completed.
why it's important that we are all on the same page. This is the reports the auditors have cited you for. That's why I want us to speak to this particular report, and then you can update us on the other things that you have done.
Thank you, madam.
Should I let you keep it, or I should?
In fact, I'll be glad if it will be given to me.
No.
You can't have my personal copy. I'll give you another one.
Madam, there's another one, Honorable Chair. That is, Get Fund. Have you made any efforts to have that? That's been delayed by 48 months as of 31st December 2024, and it's 84% completed.
Mr. Chair, yes, a number of visits has been made to the office and document has also been sent to them since we cannot complete it with our funds. And as I said earlier, it's even more than the one. If you go to our senior high schools, we have a number of projects that are also abandoned. So we added all of them together and presented to Get Fund. So we have made a step. What we were told that there's re-evaluation because the project has delayed. So they are working on it. So we are yet to have a response from them. In fact, they also made us aware that the contractors working on it, if we can help them out. So we sent some of the contractors to the place for them to be aware that these are the contractors working on the project. So a step has been made, Mr. Chair.
Who's your MP?
Honorable Kwabena Minta Akano. In fact, one of the visits to the place, I went with him.
So he's aware of all these?
In fact, yes. We went to follow up at Get Fund.
Okay. All right. Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, that will be all.
Thank you very much. Let's move to the next one. It's on paragraph 736. And Honorable Ms. Bao Adams will handle that one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Dwaboso, Section 52, subsection 7A of the PFM Act 2016, Act 921 states, a principal spending officer shall account for government stores by making sure that public goods are consumed in the course of public business and records are made available. But during the year under review, an amount of 202,205 Ghana cedi was spent on fuel and transportation of election materials without any evidence of accountability, such as recording in the vehicle logbooks and receipts. Could you kindly explain to the committee what action you have taken to remedy this infraction?
Mr. Honorable Chair, the infraction has been duly accounted for and verified by the audit service.
What do you mean by it's been accounted for?
Mr. Honorable, the necessary documentations to that effect had been submitted to the audit service and verified.
What, transportation on election day? Which one? One more time, please.
There were two issues that was combined.
Yes.
One has to do with the logistics that were given to our stakeholders during the elections period. And then the other one was fuel in respect of drip machines. That one has to do with the drip machines came in without logbooks. So we provided logbooks. Logbooks were provided, and per the audit, there were no recommended logbooks, which we were asked to provide the recommended logbooks. This has been done and verified by the audit service.
Where do you get the logbooks?
Ideally, the logbooks, the vehicles were supposed to come with the logbooks.
It didn't come.
Yes.
So
please.
where do you get logbooks?
The logbooks that we provided, what we bought from the market, were not per the audit recommendation, were not the recommended logbooks. So we were asked to provide the recommended logbooks.
Sir, you see, you made 28 purchases, totaling 159,000 Ghana cedis.
Yes, please.
And you didn't have the required logbooks. My question to you, where do you get the required logbooks? Can we buy them from the bookstore? Do we have to get it from the ministry? Or we have to pass an act of Congress or Parliament for you to get the logbooks? Where do you get them from?
From the market, sir.
You can get the logbooks from the market?
Yes, please.
And we couldn't go to the market to buy the right logbooks?
Honorable, what we had, what we provided, per the advice of they said it was not the recommended ones. So quickly, what they recommended was what we bought and transferred the information.
So what's the difference between what you bought and the recommended one? What were the items or requirements that were missing in yours that necessitated the auditors to say that yours was not the required one?
One issue that was identified was the kilometric. The kilometric. What's the name? Yes, please. Yes, please. There were two. What we bought, one was missing, but the recommended one, the kilometric distance were two. That you will record your start to finish, and then the fuel consumed. So that was what they recommended for us to buy.
What did you have, please?
What we had, the other one was not what's the name? The fuel, the amount of fuel consumed wasn't there. So that was what happened.
But sir,
the fact is that
yes.
The fact is that we had a tally card at the fuel stations to justify our expenditure. However, the problem has to do with the logbook, which
sir, you had a copy of the proper logbook somewhere for some of your vehicles, didn't you?
In fact,
do you have any other vehicles at the assembly apart from the drip machines?
Yes, please.
Do they have logbooks in them?
They have logbooks.
So that copy of that logbook that you had out there, you could just go to the store and look for a copy of that one and buy for the drip machines. Isn't that so?
Yes, sir.
Sir, this is negligence. This is just pure negligence.
In fact,
go through this book. How many districts do we have? How many districts do we have? About 260.
Yes, please.
How come you are one of the very few ones who couldn't account for the drip machine fuels? Why? Because Joaboso is a different district.
No, sir. No, sir. No, sir.
Let's move on to. Oh, you have okay.
Yes, Joaboso, did you look at the recommendation of the Auditor General? So in this case, finding receipts and then logbooks later to furnish the auditors may not be the solution again. The Auditor General recommended that that amount is refunded to the state by the district coordinating director and the finance officer. And that was the recommendation.
You see, and if,
MFO. Yeah.
go ahead.
My colleague asked you a question,
Madam Chair.
and you are not responding.
Madam, I've seen the recommendation, but after the audit, immediately we were able to provide the necessary documentations, and the auditor verified the documents. It was verified.
Look, the logbook is supposed to tell you the distance that you traveled. Isn't that so?
Yes, please.
Now, fuel that you bought last week, can you remember how many kilometers that you drove last week with any of the vehicles you have?
No, please, unless I check the record.
So how can you come back and say that after months, 28 purchases, totaling 159,000, now I can remember, 3 months ago I did two. Look, don't manufacture those things for us, because very soon,
yes,
you'll be paying this amount of money from your pocket.
Yes. Honorable, I'm under an oath. And the information, we were already having the information on our records book. But the problem has to do with the recommended logbook, which all the information inside there has been transcribed onto the order. And it was verified.
What it says, the management attributed the cause of the infraction to the non-availability of logbooks and receipts at the time of the audit. It's management. You said that you didn't have the logbooks and you didn't have the receipts at the time of the audit. Let me move on. I'm sorry. Auditors, if you could come in, please.
Honorable Chair, at the time of the audit, we were not given any documents to account for the usage of the fuel. It was after the audit they brought some documents. And even that one, it was not as we recommended. So, and like you said initially, I mean, you have used fuel to take some journeys, and then you didn't, make records of those journeys. After some time, you are now doing that. How sure are we that those journeys you are now, indicating in the records are really what took place? And that is a risk. And that's why we advise that do it whilst you are on your journey. Make sure that the records are being kept to account for the usage of the fuel. So it is because of that that we recommended in our report that they should refund the amount, because we couldn't assure ourselves that they have actually used a fuel for the purpose for which it was purchased. Thank you.
You heard that, finance officer?
Yes, Honorable.
Let's move to the next one. Your infraction is on paragraph 744, and Honorable Frankie Eboa will handle that one.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not even comfortable asking my questions for the fear that the finance officer will give me an honest answer, but I'll ask anyway. Because you spent more than an hour on you, and so far we haven't gotten any meaningful thing from you. So let me ask my question. You entered into an agreement with Zoom Lion Ghana for the supply and maintenance of refuse containers and refuse truck. The auditors, in the course of their audit, found that 4 of the refuse containers that you signed for had not been supplied. Also, 3 of the containers were damaged and 1 truck was also damaged. Meanwhile, clause 3D of the agreement you had with Zoom Lion stipulates clearly that in case any of the trucks are broken down or any of the containers are damaged, you go back to Zoom Lion for the problem to be fixed immediately. So my first question, why do you have clause 3D in the agreement with Zoom Lion, but you did not go to Zoom Lion when the truck was broken down and also when the 3 refuse containers were damaged? That's my first question. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, with regards to Zoom Lion, when I assumed office, like I did to all the other things, I went through the books and saw the same thing as being mentioned here, that there were things that they needed to provide to the assembly, and that wasn't done. We had our first meeting with them at the Regional Coordinating Council. That matter was raised before them. And as a result of that, we even indicated that if that is not done, it will be very difficult to work with them, because when we appear before this committee, we will not know what to say to the committee, since there's something that they need to do. The second meeting that we had with them, the team visited us at Draboso, at my office. We raised the same issue, that the first meeting we had, there wasn't any action. So they left. And upon assuming office, I also cited a letter dated...
Honorable DC, MC, please just go straight to the point. Let us find out what has become of it. There are quite a number of your colleagues also waiting to be heard. Already you've taken more than an hour. So please
Mr.
just
Chair,
update us.
Nothing has been done from the part of the Zoom Lion. As far as with the engagement we've had with them, whether repair or the ones that they need to provide to us, they have not taken any action. But we have met them severally in Accra, at the regional level, and at the district level.
Okay, so were you making payment to Zoom Lion Ghana for these services?
In fact, since I assumed office, no payment has been made. Previous payments, I cannot speak to that. But since I assumed office, they are here. I have not made any payment to Zoom Lion Ghana Limited.
This is 2024 audit. So you said you cannot speak to that. You were doing very well before this question. You were answering all the questions from 2024. So why are you saying that you cannot speak to that? Because
in fact, Mr. Chair, I didn't say I can't speak to that. As at that time, as far as I'm aware, those monies were paid from Accra. It wasn't paid from the district, as now His Excellency has given the power to us.
Yes, I understand that, but we're not given any indication at all whether or not money that was allocated to you, part of it has been paid, has been given to Zoom Lion to offset whatever agreement we have with them.
Not that I'm aware of.
So this question you answered, was it in relation to the non-supply of the 3 refuse containers or the damage of the containers?
Damage, non-supply, together.
All of them?
Yes, as far as I'm aware.
Okay, Zoom Lion is here, but let me read a paragraph of the auditor's report. paragraph 747, we were unable to quantify the value of equipment not delivered and the services not rendered in the agreement, as the deliverables were not individually priced. Meaning that whatever money we paid to Zoom Lion, we didn't get any value for it because, one, the containers were not supplied, two, the damaged truck was not repaired, and the damaged containers were also not repaired. So Zoom Lion said, Madam Chair, Mr. Chair, maybe you may want them to respond to that.
Yes,
thank you.
I would ask Zoom Lion to respond to it because they are here. But before that, have you seen a contract between your district and Zoom Lion?
The previous one, yes, but as you speak.
What was the date on that contract?
Off-head, it will be very difficult to mention.
It will be very difficult.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
But there was something like that before I came to the office.
I'm sorry?
I said, yes, there was something like that before I came to the office, but off-head date.
Yes, there was a contract.
I may be wrong.
Nobody signs those contracts in Accra. You, the districts, you sign the contracts, don't you?
Yes, I'm aware of that.
And as soon as you sign the contract, you don't know where the contract is. Now, let me ask Zoom Lion to comment.
Honorable Chair, by way of introduction, my name is Dr. Francis Dente, Chief Internal Auditor, Jospon Group.
I'm Dr. Stephen Yabua. I'm the Group Head for Internal Control, Jospon Group.
Honorable Chair, I'm Frederick Manti, the Regional Coordinator, Western of.
Honorable Chair, respectfully, Zoom Lion has a contract with the Assembly, with effective date being the 3rd of January 2024 for 5 years. So this contract ends on the 2nd day of January 2028. 2029, I'm sorry. Now, for 5 years. From reading from the report of the auditors, we believe that this contract was not the basis for the audit. The basis for the audit was a previous contract which had expired at the time the audit was being conducted. And given that the contract spells out all the benchmarks, once a wrong contract has been used to conduct the audit, we do not believe that the findings are right. In fact, when you look at the current...
Lion, respectfully, did you say that the auditors used a wrong contract to come out with this report?
Yes, the contract...
Why do you say so, please?
Because the contract that they used, Honorable Chair, respectfully, is that of 2019, effective date 2nd day of January 2019, which expired on the 1st day of January 2024. And subsequent to that, a new contract was signed between Zoom Lion and the Assembly, dated with effective date being 3rd of January 2024. So with respect to the audit of 2024, which respectfully was done in 2025, the contract that was supposed to have been used was the 2024 contract.
Did you find out from them whether they used the 2019 contracts or the contract dated January 2024? Auditors, you are here. Respectfully, can you clarify whether you used the expired contract as Zoom Lion is claiming, or the contract dated January, did you say January 3rd, 2024?
January 3rd, 2024, respectfully.
Honorable Chair, the contract that was handed over to the auditors at the time was a basis for the audit. Now, if you quite remember, this issue came up during our previous sittings. And as part of the contract, they were supposed to provide these materials and equipments for managing the waste as far as the districts are concerned. Now, the chairman advised at the time that in order for them to do their work and for auditors not to be citing some of these equipments and all those things as not being provided and they are damaged and all that, they should concentrate on couching out a contract that will focus on providing waste management services in the various districts. So when we did the 2024 audit, the contract that was existing was a 2019 contract that they signed. Now, I'm sure that after that audit, a new contract was signed. But that contract, though, when you look at it, I can send you a copy for you to look at it. The contract was actually signed towards the end of the year 2024. It was around end of November that the Assembly started signing those contracts.
Yet
So
it
the
was
question is-
dated 3rd January 2024.
Yeah, so when you look at the preamble,
Yeah.
the preamble states the fact that the contract, is in effect from January 2024, but it was actually signed by the various assemblies getting to the end of the year, November 2024.
So say, clearly, even using the previous contract, these infractions were cited. You failed to deliver on the previous contracts. So you cannot conveniently sit here and say that they used the wrong contract. They are saying that this transpired somewhere in 2023, and then they had to carry it forward. And so even in the previous contracts, you failed to deliver on the terms of the contract. That is what the auditors are saying. And that is why it was my colleagues who were in the previous Public Accounts Committee, the ranking is here, Honorable Akwesi Kunedu is here. These things came up in the previous sitting, and it was brought to your attention. So you cannot say that first and foremost, their report is based on a wrong contract, so it doesn't hold. These were infractions that you were cited from when that previous contract existed. That is what the auditors just told us.
Honorable Chair, respectfully, if we heard the auditor right, this thing was debated in I think 2 years ago when we had the Public Accounts Committee, and it was settled that Zoom Lion's work is the service delivery and not supply of...
Well, but what the auditors cited you for are what is in the contracts, unless you are telling us the auditors based their reports on something different. But what they are saying right here is that they cited these infractions based on the contract that was given to them. And in that contract, auditors, can you please repeat it? Maybe once you repeat it, as the accounts will say, yes. So wait, as you hit it hard, as you repeat it, and we all get a better understanding of what you want to carry across. Thank you.
Yeah, so Honorable Chair, as I indicated earlier, we audited based on the contract that was existing at the time. And in that contract, they were supposed to provide these items for efficient waste management services in the various districts. And so that was the basis. Later on, they came out with a new contract, but that contract was signed at the end of the year, 2024. And so we cannot just say that the basis of our audit is wrong. I mean, this has been an issue that has been reoccurring even in our past audits. And to help them and to help all of us, they asked them to focus on the waste management services, which now, in the new contract, they have tried to do that so that the issue about these equipment not being supplied and damaged will not come up again.
So, Mr. Zumla, you can't pick and choose. The auditors are saying they provided in their reports that moving forward, focus on just the waste management and leave out the provisions of the bins and the trucks. And based on that, in the new contract, you don't find it in there. I suppose.
Honorable Chair, that's what.
No, I'm asking. So in the new contract, do you still provide bins and trucks for refuse collections, please?
We use the containers and trucks as our tools of trade, as always.
So it is still in there?
We use them to do the work, but...
No, I'm talking about the provision of these things to the assembly. Is it in the new contract?
No, it's not in the new contract.
So clearly you have listened to what the auditors, the recommendations the auditors gave, and that's reflected in your new contract. So then you cannot say that they are... yes, this, the, whatever, 744, the infractions that you've been cited for, one is based on a wrong contract. You cannot in any way state that here, because they said that this was the contract that was given to them prior to you signing on the new contract. The new contract was signed somewhere in November, but then in the agreement, you stated that it should take effect from January. So as at the time they were having this, the audit, it was that contract. And these are issues that have come up in previous years that they have pointed it out to you. So respectfully, you cannot say that they based their report on a wrong agreement. That we will not take here.
Honorable Chair, respectfully, contract has a beginning date and an end date. The beginning date and end date is well spelled out in the 2019 contract. Clause, the first sentence in the contract, page 3, has the effective date, which is 3rd of January 2024.
With respect, Madam Chair. Say, when was the contract you are reading signed? Don't go to the effective date, please.
2019 contract.
No, please.
I'm coming.
The new contract.
No, please.
When was it signed?
The new contract, in terms of signature, was signed in November 2024.